help it, but it is a great day to have so many friends and so many representation in our community here to honor AAPI, and that's Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Let me, am I live? I want to make sure that
you're live.
Yeah, you're live.
Okay, I'm trying to share. I can't see myself because, so today, we're gonna have a panel discussion, and we have our wonderful moderator, Katie Kapsas, my friend, for a good number of years. And Katie was hesitant because she said that she's not Asian, but we love Katie, and I think Katie's just gonna be dandies because Katie is representing America, and America is a good mix. I'm sorry, I'm multitasking here, and my keyboard is sticking, and so so Katie, let me do a quick introduction about who Katie is, and then I am gonna let Katie direct this program. It's a panel discussion. So hi everyone, welcome to Monday, and this is from surviving to thriving, and it's a thriving conversation. This group that Sarah and I have been on here since March 24th of 2020. The whole entire purpose is to encouraging our community and our people to be persevere, I suppose. Courage is the theme of this month, and we want to talk about courage and determination. But back to Katie. Katie is the co-founder of Inventors Club Worldwide, or ICW, and the founder of Katie Kapsas PR firm. Katie was an educator. She had worked in corporate for luxury retailers. She has helped them launch new products in Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia markets through merchandising and events. Katie's PR firm was created to help ICW members with local and national media opportunities, in addition to relationship building to enhance their businesses. She is passionate about seeing the success of entrepreneurs. More importantly, she is a social activist and my friend, and she's very vocal to fight for social injustice for her friends and her community. Please welcome Katie, and she's going to be our moderator for today's panel.
Thank you so much, Lee. It's really wonderful to be here with all of you. I'm really honored and grateful. So thank you so much. I would love to be able to go around and do a quick introduction of our panel today. So if you wouldn't mind just letting me know your name, your profession, and where you live. And that would be great. And I apologize for the lawnmower outside of my window if you can hear that. So I will mute so you don't have to hear that. But we could start with Amy.
Hi, everyone. Amy Lee here. I am actually an author, a full-time author, and I've got 3 books under my belt. They're all historical and women's fiction novels based on my family's story of leaving our country and finding a new home in the United States. And I live currently in Oklahoma, so in the Midwest, but I'm originally from the Seattle area.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy. And Sarah, you're up next.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah M. I originally from Cambodia. I'm an author of the book, How I Survived the Killing Fields. And I'm also a speaker, and currently living in Florida, Tampa Bay area. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. Chien-Chi?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chien-Chi Huang. I'm an immigrant from Taiwan. I'm not an author, but I'm aspired to be one. Currently, I run a nonprofit organization called Asian Women for Health in Somerville, Massachusetts.
Wonderful. Pim?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Pim Parpart. I'm originally from Thailand. I came here since 1974. I am now retired, but I am a full-time Toastmaster, and I am the current district director for the Florida, Northern and Central Florida Toastmasters Clubs.
Wonderful. Meili?
Hey everyone, my name is Meili Tao, and I am the Donut Princess of Los Angeles. I own DK's Donuts and Bakery in Santa Monica, California, and I also have a donut bouquet delivery service where we ship and deliver donut bouquets all over the US. I also have a luxury car rental business called Donut Exotics, and my background is Dichu, Cambodian, and Thai, and I currently live in the west of LA, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Fabulous. And Lea?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Lea Tran. I've got so many layers of career, but I started out with as a scientist, as a chemist, and then I became a business entrepreneur in home decorating business, specify in custom window treatment. So coronavirus had really give birth to me as a speaker, author, and now a certified life coach. So we're all coming in at the same time, and I'm just thrilled to be here and to spend my beautiful evening with you gorgeous ladies. And I live in Florida, sorry.
Thank you so much. I didn't mention, but I'm in Philadelphia in case you did not know where I was located. Okay, so just to start off with a couple of questions. Let's go with Sarah. What ethnicity do you identify with, and what was your childhood like?
Well, I identify with Cambodian, of course, because I grew up in Cambodia and I live in Cambodia until age 26. So childhood is very fun for me. I grew up in the countryside, I live among the nature. So natural living is my lifestyle when I was young. So grateful for that lifestyle.
It sounds wonderful. Pim?
Same question?
Yes, same question.
Okay. Growing up in Thailand, I am the youngest of 9 children. At that time, many families have many children. So I am the youngest of 9 children. And my older brother next to me, they're brothers. I have the 6 girls and 3 boys, but the one next to me were 2 older brothers. So I was playing with the older brother more than the sisters. And being the youngest, you don't get to do much because you're supposed to respect the elder, and the elder is more important. So I was just kind of growing up, just playing around with the boys. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you. Okay, next question. What is one fond memory you have from your birth country? Amy?
So I am originally from Vietnam, and I was there until I was 5 years old. So the only memory that I really had was showering in the rain in the alley naked. That is probably my fondest memory, is just whenever there was any rain at all, I would always be running out there streaking.
I love that. I have a 6-year-old, so I love that. Meili?
So my background, it's kind of complicated. It's Dichu, Cambodian, Thai. So that means my grandparents, they basically immigrated from the south of China to go to Cambodia to find a new life, new opportunity. Then the Khmer Rouge happened, which was a terrible genocide and really related to the war, where millions of people ended up, dying. And luckily, my parents were able to come to America, where they had me. So my childhood was, I spent a lot of time at the donut shop, which was, our family's bakery, and helping them out there. And You know, growing up, I didn't really have any Asian friends. I didn't even know that there were any other Asians out there. I grew up in a neighborhood that was primarily white and Hispanic. And, you know, growing up, I didn't really identify as being Asian. I wanted to be like the people on TV or the people who are my friends. So growing up, I was kind of not really considering like my Asian identity only until, you know, I started to get a higher education in college. So, but besides that, you know, spent, you know, since the age of 6, I was helping my parents, standing on a little milk crate to reach the top of the showcase, going with my parents to, you know, do business things like go to Costco and run a bunch of errands, and not really watching cartoons growing up, but just straight into the workforce.
I love that. A lot of that actually sounds the way I grew up. I grew up in the catering business, so I can totally relate to some of that. So thank you so much for sharing. All right, next question. Share with us a tradition you value that your family passed on to you that you still practice. And I'm going to give this one to Lee.
Hey, I want to answer the fun stuff.
We'll go back.
Somebody else. I'll ask
I know,
someone
yeah,
else.
right. I love Shower in the Rain, by the way. I've done a bunch of that. And oh my God, watching all those Chinese movie, every single new episode coming out from Taiwan or Hong Kong, like, you know, me and my cousins are like, let's go see that one. Let's go see that one. And, you know, biking for hours. But anyway, all right. What's the question that you want to ask me? What's the tradition?
Okay. Share with us a tradition you value that your family passed on to you that you still practice.
Oh gosh, yeah. Not too many anymore, unfortunately. When my mom moved out of my house at 73, I kind of lost a lot of those traditions. But I remember a tradition that we were still practicing, and I'm, as the oldest, always carrying through whatever mom was doing, like New Year, Chinese New Year. I have a long list of aunts and uncles and anybody who's older than me. I have to call them and wish them well wish for New Year. And the tradition is like, we always like bind together as a family. We always check on each other, and it's very close knit. And I think, you know, that is something that I treasure. And then the other tradition, I think, is we have a really good working ethic. And we just go straight to the workforce. There's not a whole lot of entertainment and other things. Everything's about surviving. Everything is about, you know, how to make things work. Yeah, I think we're gonna just, you know, there's so many more, but I'm gonna stop there. So somebody else had a turn.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Chien-Chi?
So mine is not so much a tradition, but more like a habit. Like, you know, because growing up, my parents, you know, generation, you know, they went through World War II, so things were scarce. So we have the habit of, you know, like every time when we leave the room, we have to turn off all the lights, and you know, we're very conservative about, you know, using water and things like that. And so everything, if you can recycle it, if you can use it again, like, you know, using newspaper for multiple things, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's the kind of thing that we do. Yeah, more like a habit. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. My grandparents were post-Depression era, so they did all of those things, all the same things. So I totally understand that. Yes. Pim.
Yes, even though I've been in this country since 1974, but something still remains is that I'm still a Buddhist. And even though I don't have anybody to tell me what to do and how to do it, I still practice that 5 precepts that we were growing up with. The thing that my parents told me is not to lie, not to kill, not to steal, and don't drink alcohol, and you don't commit adultery. I don't always practice that 100% of those, but I try to still maintain that as a Buddhist.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, the next question. What are some life principles that you value and pass on to your family or your community? Meili.
I think that my value that I pass on to my community is just the fact of giving back. You know, I'm also Buddhist, and, you know, we believe in karma, and, you know, I just want to leave the world a little bit better than how we left it. Having compassion, you know, that stems just from when I was a little girl, and, you know, just starting to understand my parents' story about how they got here. And compassion really applies to everyone, you know, whether you have a girlfriend telling you about somebody who did her wrong, and, you know, showing them a different perspective, and, you know, really leading by example as well.
Sarah?
You're muted.
Some value that I still think that we continue to carry on is we still respect the elders. we still consider our family as the strongest support of our life, and we love each other, although we live thousands of miles away from each other, but our family is the strongest supporter, and we can always count on our family. And I think that's the main value that we continue to pass on to our next generation.
I love that. I think family is the most important to me as well. So I really value family at the top. So thank you for sharing that. What is a stereotype that you think others have about Asians and Pacific Islanders? Chien-Chi.
Well, I think most people think of Asian, they think Asian are healthy, wealthy, and well-educated. So that's the model minority myth that we're trying to debunk, because we know that Asian Americans are not a monolithic group, and we're very diverse. And even within the Chinese community, you know, the Chinese who, you know, who are from Taiwan, or the Chinese from mainland China, or the Chinese from Singapore, we all have different live experience, and different, you know, depending on the acculturation level, you know, we have different socioeconomic status. So it all varies. So I would just say that what we're trying to debunk is the stereotype that people think that all Asians are scientists, you know, wizard of math, and you know, and we're all doctor, you know, engineers or lawyers. But they didn't see that there are also other Asian Americans who are also contributing a lot to this society and are key members of the American experience. But we're not all doctors, engineers, or lawyers.
Meili?
I think, you know, growing up, I did a lot of like work at the shop, and I would come across a lot of microaggressions of just based on how I looked. Some of it was the fetishization of just the fact that I looked Asian. Sometimes people would say like, wow, your English is really good. Like, you know, where did you learn, or where, you know, where's your country? And even like when I was dating men, like they would have these, you could just tell, like I just had like, I put them in a category of like, wow, you really haven't done your research into Asian history, or really understood that, you know, I am not just like what you think other Asian people are. I'm different. And so that was a big part of it, really understanding how to deal with comments like that. I think before, because I was raised to be so quiet and respectful and never speaking back, you know, I never said anything, but just kind of kept it inside. And maybe now this is my time where I'm like, you can't say those things anymore. And, you know, why don't you go educate yourself on what happened and understand a little bit about humanity? You know, we're all diverse, we're all different. So yeah, that's my share on that.
Oh, Katie is frozen. Katie. All right. Well, who would like to answer that same question until Katie come back?
I'll answer. I mean, to echo what both Chien-Chi and Mei Li said, I totally agree. And I think some of the other stereotypes about us are, you know, we're quiet and we're shy. And so when we don't speak up, we're complacent and we're, you know, that we're comfortable being subjugated. And that's not true. We have a voice. We just are so respectful, sometimes too respectful, right? And we don't speak up. Another stereotype I think is that our food is weird and that none of us are either born in the US or came to the US at a young age. So we all must, you know, not speak the language very well. And so I think oftentimes we are misunderstood and nobody gives us that chance because I think part of it too is we don't look our age, you know, and so people naturally make assumptions already based on what we look like. Yeah.
I have two things that I want to share. I don't know why, but because of the way I look, people think I'm Filipinos. So that's the first thing people will ask me. And also because I'm Thai, they will assume that I'm Taiwanese because they don't know. So I always have to explain that Thai doesn't mean I'm Taiwanese. Oh. But that's the two things that I always came across.
That's interesting and that's funny. I can totally understand why people would think that because they just don't know, you know.
I get approached as Filipinos many times.
I think that's a catch-all because, you know, I am told that too. It's like you're either Chinese or you're Filipino. Like there's no other nationality.
Yeah.
The thing is like, it's a little confusing when I say, oh, I came from Vietnam, but I'm not Vietnamese, I'm Chinese. So there's always like a very mixed identity. And I think one of the things that the stereotype, like if you're not scientists, if you're not lawyers or an accountants, then do you own a restaurant because you're Chinese? Or do you own a nail salon because you're Vietnamese?
Mm-hmm.
And that is just really, I mean, that happened to me at the gym. And this lady is like, it's like, she's asking and asking. And I would just feel like really uncomfortable the way that she was like, oh, do you know how to make kung pao or something? I was like, I don't own a restaurant. I don't know.
Yeah.
I came from Vietnam. It's like, oh, then you have a nail salon? I was like, no. It's very frustrating. Okay, I think
so true because even when you're Korean, a lot of Koreans go into the dry cleaning business.
Yeah.
So we all have our little pockets and niches.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're sideways, Katie.
You muted.
And how many times you were asked in the restaurant,
American
restaurant, if you want some soy sauce?
Oh.
Asked many times.
Or we all eat spicy foods, like, you know, we're Asian, so therefore we have a very high.
It's funny because I don't eat spicy food. and what bothered me the most is when I was in China. And they asked me, are you Filipino? And I was just like, kill me now. Just like, kill me now.
Katie, welcome back.
Sorry, ladies. I must have a terrible connection. I have to go through my phone, and it keeps breaking up. So I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that it stays.
Yeah, we entertain ourselves when you're not here. So
yeah, we continue
That's
our
good.
discussion. But so you can still ask the question 7.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We got plenty of times, lady. There's no rush. Just
Yeah.
relax and have fun.
Can we ask each other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These
I
are
would,
great
I would love to
format.
know. I would love to know why Mei Li's family go into the donut business, because donut is not a Chinese or Asian kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. And you know, it's like you guys said, right? There's this stereotype that if you're Chinese, you have a Chinese restaurant. If you are Vietnamese, you have a restaurant or, you know, a nail salon. So this kind of stereotype it's common. So my great uncle, his name is Uncle Ted Noi. He opened up hundreds of donut shops for Cambodian refugees because he himself was sponsored from Cambodia to America and took on 3 different jobs. And when he took on those 3 different jobs, he realized he couldn't support his family still. He needed to keep hustling and keep adding on other jobs to support. So one night he went to a donut shop, he saw how busy it was, and he fell in love with the donut and the coffee combination. At this time also, it was around the time where everybody's commuting to work. So donuts were very much a breakfast item. So he actually went in and worked for Winchell's and learned how to be a manager and opened his own shop. And he duplicated that over and over and over again. Then he created a leasing program for Cambodians so that when they came over here, they would have this opportunity that they could come and make money and be their own boss. And I think that donut shops really stuck because my parents, for example, they were like around 9 or 11 when they were children of that war that happened in Cambodia. So they never got an education. They never went to school. So coming to America, they don't have an education and they don't speak English. So donuts are a very simple kind of gateway into earning a living. And so, you know, my dad, when he came to America for the first time, Ted picked him up. He had maple bars in the back seat. And, you know, immediately Uncle Ted was explaining to him how he would be able to make it here, you know, with donut shops. And with donut shops too, it's, you might not have to know English, but it's a lot of hard labor. It's a lot of hours. You know, DK's Donuts is open for 24 hours still to this day since 1981. And a lot of other donut shops are. So, you know, it's really up, you know, trying to beat the competition by having the highest quality donut, but also it's kind of like a pretty simple business to get into if you're an immigrant coming over here. And actually tonight on PBS, we are—
I was going to say that there was a documentary about the Donut King. Is that your family?
That's my family and I'm in it. I'm narrating it in the beginning, and it goes into the second generation of donut shop owners, which is myself and a few others who decided to carry on the donut shop in their family. So that actually debuts on PBS today. I've actually gone live all last week, like 3 to 4 lives a day in different states like Milwaukee and Virginia, and it's in your local PBS, so just check to see when it's playing. In LA, well, in LA it's 10 p.m. tonight, but I'm not sure what it is in yours, so just look at PBS or the PBS app.
So a little connection there. So I actually, so my background is in communications, and I actually was the associate producer for WGBH. I did a documentary about Taiwan. It's called Talk of War. And another connection there is, I remember in the story, I don't know, was it your dad or your uncle who gambled away the fortune?
My uncle, yeah, he gambled all of it away. He had such a bad gambling problem.
Right. So
most Asians do, though. A lot of
before I started the Asian Women for Health, the nonprofit, I actually worked as the Asian Community Program Manager for the Massachusetts Council on Compulsive Gambling. So I have personal and professional experience working with people in recovery.
Yeah, I mean, gambling was definitely his demise. You know, he ended up using his donut shops for collateral, lying to his family, borrowing money from the family. And even to this day, there are people in the family who are so mad at him and so upset because, number one, he still owes money. And number two, it's like, when you have gambling in the family, it just affects all of the family because they're constantly going after, hey, you know, can I have money? Can I have money? This is the last time. Yeah.
Money is actually their drug.
Yes, exactly. That's so cool.
It's an addiction. Mhm.
Okay, back to Katie.
Well, that's an amazing story on both parts. I grew up in the restaurant business, so I love any stories about restaurants and the starts of them and all of that. So I look forward to looking out for that. The story about your family's donut shop. That's super cool. Super cool.
Yeah, so here in the East Coast, we actually, so donut is very popular and they come up with
Yeah.
some new flavors. Do you have any Asian flavor?
We actually do. Yeah.
You
So
do?
we have quite a few. So one of the first donuts that I created when I stepped in after college was the Ube Donut, which is a purple
Oh.
yam donut. Again, you know, we're making the donuts, so we make them not too sweet, you know, just to complement the Asian taste. So we made the Ube Donut. We have a lychee cream donut. We have a Thai tea donut and a taro donut. And those ones are
Taro.
definitely like Southeast Asian inspired.
Yeah.
We also have a
Taro's my
matcha green tea donut too. So we have 120 different kinds of donuts that we make daily. So we have something for everyone.
Wow.
You're making us drool.
Bailey, I will,
Oklahoma.
Bailey, I will actually be out in California in at the end of June. So tell me the name of the donut shop again.
Yeah,
You said
so-
that's or your place.
Yeah, it's
Are both of them? It's still in existence, correct?
Yes, DK's Donuts and Bakery. It's in Santa Monica, and the Donut King was
Okay.
the film that we were talking about. So you know, tune in and on PBS. But if I can share a funny story about Ube, so Ube is like a purple yam root. So the consistency, it's like kind of like a cake donut, but it's purple. So when you're in an area where there's not a lot of Asians, there was a lot of white people who would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, what's the Ube? What's the Ube donut? I don't like it. It's purple." And I'm like, "No, it's Ube." And a lot of it is educating people because they've never seen it before. And I feel really proud that I'm the person to introduce them to it, because after that, the whole Ube flavor kind of exploded here in SoCal. There's Ube ice cream, there's Ube crackers, there's a lot of different Ube things. So sometimes, you know, when you're practicing whatever craft you're up to, you know, it's good to educate people and bring in your own like influences to educate the general public, because they just don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
love
And I think that
And-
oftentimes we're made to feel like we're the perpetual foreigner, that we don't belong here. And, you know, and that's why I think that we should try hard to get people to see that Asian American experience is part of the American experience. We are Americans. Yeah.
And I think the conversation like this gotta, you know, be more out there in order for people to understand we are all different background, very, very different diversity in a sense that, you know, we are Asian, but we all experience all different things. So this is a great healthy dialogue that I think more of us and share our story. I mean, your uncle's story is beautiful. You know, Amy's mom's story is beautiful. Pim's story is beautiful. Everybody has a great story, and you know, just like Sarah and I really want more and more story out there so people can understand that we all have our struggle, we all have our convictions, and we all have our differences. So we're not all the same, even though we look similar.
I love that. Should I go to the next question?
Feel free.
Yeah. Okay. Who in the Asian American Pacific Islander community is your hero and why? I'm going to ask Amy.
That's a hard one. And I guess what I will say is right now, my heroes are the reporters and the news anchors who are reporting right now on the anti-Asian hate crimes. It's been happening since COVID and it continues to happen. And they, you know, they get death threats and they get outlash all the time from the communities that they work in. And so, but they're still continuing to stand up for us. They're still activists. They're still going against, even though their parents are worried for them, they're still choosing to report on these these incidences. So, and I love the fact that they're also putting their money where their mouth is. You know, they're donating to organizations, they're supporting AAPI businesses, they are educating and using their platform. So I think all of us, really, it doesn't matter what our platform is, whether it's small or big, whether we start at the micro level, grassroots level, or if we have a global platform, we should be speaking up. And so in that sense, I think that's why they're my heroes right now.
A great answer. So would anyone else like to add to that? Unfortunately, my Wi-Fi is terrible. I'm not sure what's happening. So I do want to get through the questions before they end, or before this ends, my Wi-Fi connection. But I would like to hear from one other person. So let me just look at because I'm on my phone. So I really apologize. Of course, this has to happen right now. Let's go to Sarah. Can you answer that question for us?
Sure. For me, the hero are the second generation immigrant that come at a young age, just like my Melly and Amy. They come and they grow up here. They have no memory of the native country, but they still push through so many challenges that they are facing, and they deal with that, and they just keep moving up their own career. I have two nieces that came when they arrived, they was in the kindergarten and the first grade, and now they have their own successful life and career. So they are my hero because they make it happen. They have a hard time dealing with this discrimination and all that, but they keep moving up. So they are my hero.
I see that Chien-Chi.
Yeah,
that
I put it.
Mine is U.S. Senator Sammy Duckworth. Yes.
Yeah, I think
I love her too.
She's a badass. Yeah.
She's awesome. Yeah. Would anyone else like to share who their hero is?
Well, growing up, I watched a lot of Connie Chung.
Yes.
Anchoring. I was going back, and that was like first time I said that, wow, Asian can actually be going places. But then, and then I love Vera Wang because he is like in the model and fashion world, and that's like where I pay attention. And but then I look back and it's like, they are born here. So does that mean no chance for me? Like, I am too old when I came here, you know, as a teenager. And I was like, wow, they got such an advantage because they speak the language beautifully. And I didn't really see me at being able to do anything success. And I love politician. I love Ted Lieu. I think he's so eloquent, and he's from Taipei. He wasn't born here, but he's made it up there as a politician, and which is not easy for Asians to be a politician. But my common day heroes are the people like you who are speaking up and who take the courage to just stand up for something that you believe. And I am taking a little bit of that courage because I'm watching people. I mean, the younger folks, I love them because, like my son, he's inquisitive about the background, and like Maylee's generation who want to glorify their parents and bring the culture out. They're so vocal, and they're so, I admire them as the people that I want to be, because, you know, being our generation, we hold back. We hold back a lot. We were taught not to speak. We were taught not to make wave, not to rock the boat, not to do things. And I'm sick of being that person anymore. I want to be like, America is a free country. I want to have a voice, but I'm still very cautious about, you know, offending people or even straight standing up. I'm not offending in the sense, it's more like defending us more than offending. But sometimes I'm still hold back because, like, ooh, I don't want people to retaliate. ooh, I'm afraid of death threats. Yes, those kind of things still hold me back. But I think my common day, everyday heroes are the people who take the platform and stand up. And it doesn't matter what age you are, you have a belief, you have a voice, you should use it. And I want to thank you for all of you who are standing up and who's speaking your voice.
Thanks, Lee.
I just want
Completely agree.
Yeah, I just want to add one more group that I have respect for as my hero are the true American that are very compassionate toward us, a brand new immigrant. But when we first came, those group of people who support us, who help us, and to get start our new life, they are amazing. So I will never forget their kindness and their compassion.
I totally agree. I still remember my sponsors. I remember the voluntary agencies, the VOLAGs, the humanitarian groups, you know, all of our allies. I mean, we couldn't be here without them.
Right.
Getting all choked up, ladies.
All of you ladies are amazing. I just want you to know that. All of you.
Well, I have to say that without the ally, without the friends and community that who are looking out for us, it's really hard for us to stand strong. And for all the friends that who believes in us, or people that who married to one. So that, you know, always like the backdrop, the behind, the support group, and we appreciate them.
Can I go back to one of the questions Katie asked before? So you, Katie asked that what was the thing that you missed the most about the country you're from? So for me, it was the night market. I missed the food, the people, the sound, the smell. But then I was wondering why there's no night market in the United States.
That's actually a really good question. I was in Singapore many years ago. We had taken my 3-month, he's now almost 16 and he was only 3 months at the time. But we went to the night markets there and it was amazing. And you're right. I mean, that's just such an awesome experience.
I can give some possible insight as to why there are not a lot of food markets in the US. So the US is very strict in terms of like the health protocols that come with food, like, you know, a food festival. And we do have food festivals that are hosted by private, you know, private companies, private individuals, which we've participated in. And it's very strict, you know, as like a small business person serving food, it's like you have to have a hand washing station. You have to make sure everything's, you know, contained and whatnot. So we do have like Night Market 626. We have like OC Night Market. They do pop up. And, you know, maybe it's also because it's just a lot of work to do a food, like participate as a food vendor in the market. You know, you have to get there, set up, bring all the food or make the food live. You have to set everything, have someone there. So I don't know. I just think it's less common, although I love the food markets, especially in Taiwan. Taiwan food markets are like, oh my God, they're amazing, insane. And I love it. Even like the smells of stinky tofu, and it's still, it's like all the experience, you know, you have like those big jugs of like juice, like fresh juice and all sorts of random food that is delicious. But I think maybe it's just because it's so strict for the vendors to, you know, they have to get the permits for it. They have to get, there's a lot of hoops that you have to run through to set up something like that. But we do have them here in California.
I thought it was because American is like the Protestant culture, you know, the religion, like people don't work, you know, after sunset, or, you know, they stay home and people don't go out.
Yeah, if I may inject, I think, you know, in my opinion, I think Asia using the nighttime because it's cooler to go out, because the daytime it's just so hot. In Vietnam's also lots of night market, and we all go out and have, you know, things to eat after dinner, and we gather. But in America, I think they work during the day. In the daytime, they want to be dinner with family or even TV or that kind of thing. So it's less people going out. That's just my reason. I think we lost Pim, or is that Pim?
She's still there.
Is Pim still there?
Just the video's off.
Yes,
That's
she's
all.
still there. She just turned her.
Trying to
camera.
save the
bandwidth.
Your internet is bad too.
Yeah, she's still here.
If you guys are near Canada, they have a really great night market every summer in Richmond and Vancouver area. When I lived in Seattle, I'd always hop the border and go over there with my Mahjong sisters every single summer, and it's a blast. And you end up buying not only amazing food, but cheap plastic things that you don't need. And but I feel like night markets are more culturally an Asian thing, and so if you're living in a community where there's not a lot of Asians, you're not going to necessarily see those night markets pop up.
I've totally been to that night market and it is insane. It's like, and on top of that, for night markets in Asia, they make it easily accessible. Like the trains will always go there, it's like a stop too. It's like very ingrained in even just like the layout of the city. So I know, I wish there was night markets every night here. It'd be really delicious.
It's a culture thing, I believe. Yeah, it is a culture thing. Did I hear you say a Mahjong sister, Amy?
Yes, so I have been playing Mahjong for 25 years. We would get together, there's 6 of us, we get together every single month. It's always the 3rd weekend of the month, and we play Mahjong, and the kids and the
Joy Luck Club.
Yes, it really is. Like the kids and the husbands, they don't exist, And every year we go on our annual girls' weekender trip. I'm actually going to Seattle in July for our annual weekender trip. But we've been doing this for over 20 years, and it's amazing.
Oh my God, I have a set at home and nobody plays with me.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. I like to share something with this group, if I may.
Yeah.
So I have this idea. I wanted to start a community to support Asian women entrepreneurs like all of you who have products or services that nourish our mind, body, and spirit. So all of you actually are in this category. And I have a name picked out, and it's called Aspirations. And I'll put it in the chat box. So my goal is that I would like to use the summertime to start a group and maybe to have like a Facebook group. So I would send you guys invitation, and maybe we can do something like this, just hang out, and then to, find ways to support each other and to promote each other.
Yeah, that's great.
Fantastic.
You might have a Mahjong group too.
All right.
Yeah.
Bring your money.
Mahjong.
In the later question, you might want to respond to that.
Yeah. Any more questions, Katie? I'm sure you have a couple more, right?
Yes, I do.
You don't control us. We're just going to keep talking.
That's totally fine. I love it. So how can we dismantle the stereotypes of the Asian Pacific Islanders community? Lee.
Me? You always pick me for the toughest question.
I haven't picked you that many times because I know you probably, obviously the best on the panel. So, but I don't know all these answers how you'll respond. So I'm interested to hear.
So I think the way to dismantle is
Can I respond?
Oh, am I? Yeah, go ahead, Pim.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead, Pim.
Internet is so bad. Everybody's froze.
Oh no.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, you're not frozen. We can still hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
That's one thing that I experienced that is a myth is that tippings, because they said Asian people don't tip well. So what I do is when I tip is even extra just to change their mindset. That's something that I try to, no matter where I go, restaurant or hotel, I will tip them a lot, just to know that not all of us are like that. It's almost like they expect us to be cheap. And that's one of the stereotype that I think that we can fix that.
And we bargain and haggle everywhere we
Oh
go.
yeah.
That's the
So
stereotype.
we don't buy anything without
We'll go into
bargaining.
Fendi or into, Louis Vuitton and we'll haggle. That's
Oh yeah, that's what I have to tell my mom. Yang at mom, you do not haggle in this store. She's like, why not? You know what? But sometimes they do have 25% off the day before, and you never know. The manager would say, sure, I'll extend that. So I learned that from mom. It's like, well, it doesn't hurt to ask. The worst you can get is a no. But so I think your question was how to dismantle the stereotype. I think dialogue like this, open more door for people to understand, educate your friends and tell them that, create a curiosity so they understand that not Asians are lumped in the same categories. We all have different background. We all have different educational background. We all have different struggles and things that we do well, things that we do, that we're not so good at. So we are not all the same. So I think, whatever we do, we need to have more dialogue and tell the story so people understand that when people understand your story, they have more compassion. And I think which is an ongoing fight, is an ongoing uphill battle that we need to do, but we need to do more of that.
I couldn't agree more.
If I can add to that, I definitely want to echo what Pim and Lee said. Is something that I do is I go out there and I break every stereotype they ever had about an Asian person, and I show them like, no, like that's not how I am. Therefore, that's not how the next Asian person is. So again, echoing is that lead by example, be that person to break the stereotypes just by how you are when you're with people, to show them that we're not all the same.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
Maybe together we can do something even bigger and better. So Chien-Chi, yes.
Yeah,
I'm in.
actually, yeah, we're hoping to do some kind of video project in the summer. So yeah, on the lookout. Maybe I'll just tap you and I'll interview you.
Sure.
All right, ladies, last question. What can we do individually or collectively to demystify these perceptions as we move forward? Chien-Chi, you're on my screen. I'm on my phone, so I'm going to ask you.
So I just want to echo what Mei Lee and Lea said. Just, share your story, and, we're the one who are in a position to change the narrative, right? So, we're immigrants, we're the children of immigrants, but we all have different life experience. So, we just share our story and ask people to just not, lump us all together as one single group, but look at us and embrace the diversity, of all of our different groups.
I love that. Well, unless someone else has something to add to that question, I'm going to open it up for some final thoughts from all of you.
I want to add one
Would
more
anyone
thing.
like-
Am I muted? No. So I think that if we can do cross-culture things that, make known to outside world, the Thai traditions, the Chinese tradition, the Vietnamese, the, Cambodians, the Japanese, the Filipino, we all have our beautiful culture that we can celebrate. So I know in Orlando, whenever Chinese New Year, they do have different ethnic group parade and do those kind of dance, but once a year. So not too many people actually. We got to do it more often. We don't wait until May. We don't wait until Chinese New Year to do that. But when I was in Singapore before the pandemic, I came home, and I want to share that when I watched the TV over there, they have a program, and they were promoting, they would give award to cross-culture from different groups, and they acknowledge those groups that do things, activity to help the community, because in Singapore, there's like 3 big population, the Indian, the Chinese, and the Malaysian, but they are promoting all this cross-culture activity. They make the community known that, you know, who is doing certain things to promote the cross-culture activities. And I think, you know, it's a beautiful thing that if we all bring out, even just American mix, you know, it's just so nice to be able to learn about different culture than just yours.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think instead of waiting for other people to recognize us and wait till May to celebrate our culture and our heritage, we should nominate each other. Yeah, we should nominate each other and promote each other and to give each other a award. You know, not waiting for other people to do that.
Yeah, now that we have access to online platform like this, maybe once a month we celebrate one culture.
There you go.
And the next month we celebrate another culture. So every month we highlight the different culture. So that will be ongoing.
I think that's beautiful that we're all looking to mobilize ourselves and move the API community forward. I also think that, you know, we should have maybe a red table talk of our own, where it's not just highlighting the Asian community, but let's talk to our Black brothers and sisters, our LGBTQ community, you know, other marginalized communities that are misunderstood and have their own stereotypes, and together we can break that.
Yeah. I will go beyond that. Just go across all the immigrant community. There's so many immigrants that come from Europe, come from, you know, different part of the world. They are here.
Yeah. Well, I know Pim has to leave a little early, or 6 o'clock. So thank you, Pim, for being here. And everybody can hang around, and I think we'll only have like a couple more minutes, and I want to respectful of our audience time. And I want to thank Katie for moderating the conversation, even though we go off the grid a little bit.
Sorry about that, everyone.
That's okay. That's okay. But this is fun. Yeah, Sarah and I, we're gonna talk about how we can get more of this type of conversation. And I think it doesn't have to be just Asian.
It's really wonderful.
We can do different culture, anybody who want to jump in. It does not have to be Asian, but this is a start. This is a start. Anything you want to say before you leave, Pim?
Yeah, can I just put in a plug-in for 2 of our upcoming events? So on May 28th, we're doing a joint event with BIWAC Gathering Circle to talk about Afro Black history, and also to talk about anti-Blackness in the people of color community. And I put in the chat box of the registration link. And also on June 5th, there's a free conference called Asian American Mental Health Forum. And it's on Saturday, June 5th from 9:30 to 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. And the title for the conference is called Connecting During COVID, Mental Health Innovations and Positive Adaptation.
Chien-Chi, you can leave all those information out on our Facebook group under the video. Okay?
Okay, great.
Yeah,
any last word before you go, Pim? I know that you have to go.
Very nice meeting you all. I love this kind of thing, so please invite me again.
Thank you, Pim.
It was wonderful to meet you, Pim.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Pim.
Looking forward to more.
Okay.
I've got to take off too, but I just want to say thank you so much. It's so cool to just chat with, other Asian Americans, especially, you guys are believing in our generation, and I'm just so happy to represent Asian Americans, and I promise to make you all proud. So I gotta
Oh,
get
You make
going.
us proud.
You
You
already
make
do.
us proud. All right.
so
Mhm.
proud of you, Miley.
Thank you, and hope you
Yeah.
guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
I have to leave too, but what's the name of the Facebook group?
From surviving to thriving, a
Thriving.
thriving
Okay.
conversation.
Great.
Well, I'm going to just say goodbye to our audience. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And if you are catching a replay, leave us a comment. What do you think about panel? And if you have any suggestion, if you want to be part of the panel, we're probably going to do more of this. And I think that it's just so much fun to hear other people speaking as a group as well. Any
Thank
last
you,
word,
Lee.
Amy?
Thank you all for having me.
Thank you, Katie. You've been
Thank you,
awesome.
Katie.
Thank you for being with us.
Have a great night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Good